mega news out of ChatGPT today. I mean, it was going on all weekend. You want to talk drama? Who knew there could be so much drama in the tech world and in the business world? Well, Sam Altman, who was the founder of ChatGPT, he got ousted over the weekend by his board. And his board actually was kind of a strange board because none of the board members actually were interested in making any money, and they didn't have a stake in the company. They just wanted to make sure that they could protect and promote the sort of altruistic values that they had for the future of the world. And so they wanted to make sure that ChatGPT was on board with all that. Well, you know, sort of the anti-woke crowd would say, wait a second, like what's going on, right? Like, are they just trying to promote their own agenda and their own, nonsense effectively, as opposed to truth? It's not entirely clear. We don't really know, other than we do know that this particular board did not like Sam. Part of the reason for that was Sam was trying to make this a profitable company. He had been mandated to do so by Microsoft, which put a $17 billion investment into ChatGPT. What Sam had realized was that he really couldn't compete with other players unless he had a capitalist component to all this. Elon Musk, in the meantime, who, by the way, was on the board and jumped off shortly after Microsoft got in, he was friends with Sam. He had a conversation, this is very interesting, with Sergey Brin like years ago from Google, and he was really concerned because I guess if you read the biography, this is all in there by Walter Isaacson, the Musk biography, what Brin was saying was that, machines are effectively going to take over the world. And Elon's like, whoa, wait a second, that's not really good. And he's like, oh, you're a speciesist. And he's like, yeah, you know what? I want the human species to be the dominant player, and I don't want technology being the dominant player. In other words, human beings need to stay 5 steps ahead of the computers for the success of the world. And this is why, in part, he's all about smart people having more kids because, you want to stay ahead of the computers. And there's this concern out there, and it's shared by Elon and others, that maybe ChatGPT, OpenAI, this whole thing, AI in general, artificial intelligence, is moving at too fast a speed. And so Elon decided to plunk $100 million down with his friend Sam and start this OpenAI ChatGPT company. And then, one by one, all the board members started leaving because people didn't agree with what they were doing. Elon left, and he's kind of trying to do his own thing through Tesla right now on the AI front. In the meantime, Sam's there, and he's got Microsoft breathing down his back, and they're like, wait, we want this to work. We want it to work. We gave you $17 billion. And then he's got his board. His board is like, slow down. We want to make sure that, you're DEI friendly enough, you're CRT friendly enough. I think Elon would say, hey, that's part of his fear. That's part of his concern that, you're going to have one team controlling everything. In fact, he said something sort of to that effect. I mean, people are like, well, how are we going to actually manage all this? And he said, you're probably going to have some big bureaucracy. Here he is quoted just last month talking about what he saw sort of as the government's future and role in AI.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly. Perhaps the Department of AI. I think the probability of there being some sort of AI regulatory agency that stands on its own, similar to the FAA or FCC, is likely at some point.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, right? But I think the hope is that you're creating a product that's not insanely biased, because if it is, well, then we're all sort of done. We're done. And that's when you have the boxers in the ring, where somehow the one that's biologically born male is supposed to fight the one that was biologically born female, because, the AIs tell us we have to. And so this drama is unfolding in real time. Over the weekend, like on Sunday, they brought Sam Altman back, the board and Sam, they were talking, trying to get him to stay. And they thought they had a deal reached. In the meantime, they put in this interim CEO, a woman who used to work at Tesla. And then by Monday morning, Sam was back out, not there, and they had a new interim CEO. The new guy is also a Microsoft person, because Microsoft owned Twitch, and he was the CEO of Twitch, and now he's the CEO interim of ChatGPT, OpenAI. Very, very incestuous industry, shall we say. And it was announced that Sam is going to Microsoft so they can run their own AI unit. So Sam's going to Microsoft. Okay. They're going to have a for-profit thing there. And then today, 500 employees out of their 770, so you're talking like 70% of the company, said, bye, we're leaving. And I guess they're going over to Microsoft too. So I don't know what's going to be left for OpenAI. I did actually get the subscription. I don't use it that much. I was joking with Sean Spicer earlier on his podcast. If you get a chance to listen, I said, well, I used it one night when the furnace was making some really loud noises. My husband's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm checking ChatGPT, which told me to call the furnace company. Haha, smart. Anyway, look, I think that it does have a tremendous future. It can actually be an enormous aid to society in so many ways, but you kind of got to get it right. I tend to just believe that the capitalist incentives are good. Elon Musk typically has already, in the past, always had a capitalist motive to his company. So whether it's sending people to Mars on SpaceX and the hope for colonization there, he's still getting paid in the process, right? The Pentagon is cutting big checks by sort of effectively outsourcing their space program to him. Or if you look at his Tesla operation, yeah, he's selling cars. So he's making money as he tries to find a new energy source for people. This one, he didn't have really a mandate to try and make money. He probably would have eventually, but I think it was sort of like, let's see what's going on in the beginning. I think with Twitter, it was another somewhat pet project. You see that everybody's dropping out. Disney's like, oh, we're not advertising on Twitter. But you know what? Everybody's still on Twitter. A lot of conservatives are stepping up and they're advertising on Twitter. I'm still on Twitter. I love Twitter. It's the one place where I really feel like, you know what, you can say what you need to say. He bought that for an insane amount of money. What was it? $52 billion. Crazy amount of money. He tried to lower the price, which he was unsuccessful in doing. I told you he would be. That deal was going to go through. Delaware court in history has only allowed one breakup deal to happen. So yes, he bought Twitter, and it was probably one of the greatest things he could have done for humanity. People are still on there, whether Disney's advertising or not. And I think eventually he will make it a capitalist model. The desire is for Twitter to make money, and I think he'll get there. But OpenAI, I mean, that's very interesting now. So I don't know what's going to happen to the company. I mean, if everybody leaves, what are you left with? And all the intellectual capital that's going over to Microsoft. I mean, they're getting all the people, right, who know all the stuff. And so perhaps this is a win for Microsoft. I believe Microsoft's stock trading up on the news today, but they're going to have some challenges, probably legal challenges, et cetera. I don't know if the company eventually just goes under. I mean, they want their $17 billion back, you would think.